This is a travesty for the Bond franchise. For sure.
Do you think so?
I think we're about to get the Marvel universe of Bond.
We come to this place for magic, to laugh,
To cry.
To care.
but most importantly to argue about movies. My name's Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by Kellerman and Cheese over here, and we are
The Box Office Buds.
And this week we're talking about a Mickey 17 spoiler-free review, as well as diving into the new Soderberg spy movie that's coming out, The Black Bag. Don't worry, if you haven't heard of it, we haven't either. And we're finishing with a new rule in the Fantasy Movie League, one that we have not told you about yet, and one we've been saving for this very moment. Extremely excited about it. But boys, you both saw the movie, and I gotta say, spoiler alert, oh Mickey, not so fine. Kellerman, you gave a D to Mickey 17.
Yeah, and since that video came out, I've been kind of rethinking it.
Don't step it back now.
You have to. That was an instantaneous
It was
reaction.
right after.
You're allowed to sit and think, and this is not a movie.
Certainly.
I'm not going to speak for you, but this is not a movie that after you see it, you just go, well, that's definitely how I'm going to think about it in perpetuity.
No,
That's over.
It certainly is a bit of a thinker, and I'm changing my grade to a D-.
It went down for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mostly because I didn't realize we could give plus or minuses in the moment.
So Mickey 17 is now a D- movie for you. This is the spoiler-free review for those watching at home.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, I'll tell you, I don't want to overuse the word too much in my reviews, but it's weird. It's even weirder than it looks in the trailers. In fact, there's a lot of the movie completely left out of the trailers, I would say.
The marketing team had a challenging
Really
time
really
making this
hid what it
palatable
was
because
about.
it's his weirdest movie. It's Bong Joon-ho's weirdest movie. It might even be Robert Pattinson's weirdest movie, which
It
is
might
saying
be.
a lot.
That's saying a lot.
I gave it a B- initially after because I had a great time the whole time. I enjoyed my experience. Did it work for me in full as a film? No. Was Bong Joon-ho trying
Doesn't that mean you didn't like it?
No, it means that it's B- is not exactly like a rave review.
No.
Well, let me
Okay,
ask you
all
this. Would you be giving it a B- if it wasn't your movie in the Fantasy Movie League?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I laughed a lot. I had a good time. There's some really poignant stuff. Some of the
True,
dialogue
that's
is
true.
super weak. Some of the dialogue is really strong. It's just an uneven movie. And spoiler free,
that's putting it real
Mark
lightly.
Ruffalo is excellent and in an entirely different movie.
Really
See,
by
I was
himself.
I was wondering because I've seen a lot that Mark Ruffalo is very over the top in this movie. But you say he's excellent.
Mark Ruffalo is in Poor Things in this movie.
Yeah.
He's
he is over the top, but in the most perfect way. He is wonderfully over the
Is
top.
it this movie? I don't know.
No, it makes no sense in this movie at all, in my personal opinion.
I kind of agree, but I mean, look, without spoiling it, it is a comment on politics. It is a comment on status. It's a comment on no matter where we are with technology, human greed will remain the same. Like all of that is like,
Oh, so it's a feel-good movie.
yeah, absolutely. All of that is like deep and important and poignant and
Yes.
great satire on the back of a film that is only 50% satire.
Yeah, it's really muddled in comedy.
Yeah. And then there's another half of the movie which I cannot say on this podcast without
spoiling
is
anything.
a completely other film
Yeah, really.
that nobody would have expected walking into this thing. I mean, it's just a completely other plot line that nobody would have seen coming, and some of it is like super interesting, but when you watch the first half of the movie
I would
and then
agree
you
with
watch
that.
the second half of the movie, at that midpoint you go, what is happening?
Yeah, I will say, I think that one of the reasons that I was so disappointed in it, and I think that's the best word, is because I had an expectation and I didn't know exactly what that expectation was, but it wasn't what I got.
Fair enough. Well, I do have some good news, Alche. You won the over-under for the week. You are now 3-1 on the season. You took the over. Kellerman, you and I took under 17 million opening weekend domestically for Mickey 17. It got to 19. It also hit 53 worldwide, my friend. You are now on the board for the Box Office Movie League. You are in the running. Have you caught up to Dogman yet?
Not even close.
Has Captain America Brave New World hit 400 million worldwide yet? No.
Somehow
It's still very early in this whole process. But are you any more excited that you've gotten this far? Or are you a little disappointed?
I mean, I'm mildly disappointed. I wouldn't say I expected like 75 mil in the opening weekend. It's what I had hoped when I drafted it. But it's not going anywhere for a bit.
That's true.
It's not going to be competing against Snow White. If like some R-rated sci-fi people want to see a movie, there's not much to compete with it. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to do decently enough. I still think it's going to break 200 million. Do I think it's going to break 230 like I said last week?
Yeah, you did say 230 worldwide at the end of it all.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight.
The word of mouth seems pretty good, at least. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of good reviews.
Time out. The word of mouth seemed pretty good. Even the guy who's behind the movie said, it's really something.
Well,
like, that's the best word of mouth I'm hearing.
What I'm saying is what I've seen online has been
But
very
I enjoyed
positive.
going to see it. Like, it's a thinker. It is different. It is weird. And if the only Bong Joon-ho movie you've seen is Parasite, this is not Parasite.
True.
It is not a linear, clear narrative. It's all over the place.
Bong Joon-ho is a phenomenal director, obviously. Pattinson's great.
Pattinson's so
I mean,
good
he just is a good actor, but boy, I feel like it started a lot of plot threads that it just never tied up.
Yeah.
And every time you thought one was about to tie up, it just started a new plot thread.
All in all, great scores.
Well, if I were to give it a rating on our old rating system, this would be maybe 3 bongs.
I'm going to give it 5 bongs.
Take away the actual rating of the movie. Let's go back to the numbers in the actual box office league we have here. Are you happy that you have this movie on your team, knowing now what it did opening weekend?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what movie I'd rather have? Black Bag.
We dedicated this week's episode to the world of spy movies, not just because we have a Soderberg spy movie named Black Bag coming out, but because we had some giant news in the world of all spies. You see, Bond is no longer owned by the people who have had Bond forever. Instead, it was given to a Mr. Evil type mastermind himself in Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Yes, Amazon bought James Bond, all the rights to 007. It is going to become a Amazon IP,
And they bought
guess.
it for $1 billion.
And Mike Myers wrote this for SNL. It would get kicked to the curb is not believable, but it actually happened. And Amazon has Bond. Kellerman, are you a Bond guy?
I like Bond.
I mean, I love Bond. I bought all the DVDs when I was a kid. I've seen all of the movies over and over again. I tried to be like Sean Connery in Bond when I was growing up, which is not the right thing to do if you're a young boy watching at home. Not the best model to roll yourself after. I still loved it. I loved every single movie. Not a huge Daniel Craig guy, but Bond has brought me up.
I agree. I associate Bond with Thanksgiving, first of all.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, it was always on TV. Like, there'd always be a marathon of James Bond on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So that's when I would see most of the James Bond movies back to back. And my relationship with James Bond is kind of love-hate, honestly. I think that some are, I think most people would agree that some are amazing and some are
not so
really
much.
bad.
Not so much. Alch, are you a Bond guy?
Big Bond guy.
Yeah.
Love Bond.
Yeah.
Bond's awesome. Pierce Brosnan is like who
Sure,
I
he's
wanted
our,
to be.
Awesome.
our Bond. When we were
Brosnan,
kids,
he's
obviously.
my Bond. He's the people's Bond. He's the best.
Awesome.
Look, Connery's great and all. It's Brosnan.
Roger Moore is also great.
Roger Moore is fine, and Dalton, not so. Timothy Dalton, not so much.
Brad Pierce is great.
I like Daniel Craig. I like the Bond. The films themselves, really, really good. But
Yeah,
Pierce
I
Brosnan's
agree.
my Bond.
Daniel Craig really won me over.
But regardless, this is a travesty for the Bond franchise. For sure.
Do you think so?
I do, because Amazon is not just didn't spend $1 billion to make one movie every 5 years.
No. Well, that might be
Oh,
a good
you think
thing
we're
going to
get oversaturated with Bond
I think
now?
we're about to get the Marvel universe of Bond, and it's going to be a
possible.
nightmare.
Well, Bond fans would probably think that's awesome.
I don't think so.
Well,
There's
I
been a
don't
huge
think so.
slowdown in Bond movies. There used to be a Bond movie like every year or
There
every
was
other
a huge
year.
slowdown, and I believe it's a good thing that the Bond franchise is no longer in the hands of who had it, because there was something going on where they didn't want to move on from Daniel Craig. They killed off Daniel Craig, and they still didn't want to move off of Daniel
They
Craig
gave him a
as James
family
Bond.
first. It made no sense.
Don't get me into it. But
Yeah.
it was time for Bond to move forward, especially into this new world where the old swashbuckling Bond probably isn't great for this new world of cinema. But Amazon buying it now, I think, is the exact opposite end. I'm with you on that. The exact opposite end of where I think we should be with it. I don't want to see a Moneypenny TV series. I don't want to see a how
That already
Bond
exists, I think.
No, but I don't want to see a how Bond came up to be in the James Bond universe. I
That
just want
already
Bond movies.
exists.
No, it's not. I want.
We have Bond Jr. Bond Jr. exists.
No, I don't want to have the Mandalorian in the world of James Bond. I don't want to have the book of Boba Fett or whatever those was called in the world of James Bond. I just want Bond movies. Every 2 to 3 years, give me a Bond movie. Give me a new Bond. Give me a female Bond. I don't care. Take Bond into the direction I want it to go and release stuff in theaters. That's the other thing. Are we ever going to see a Bond movie in theaters again? Or is this just going to be an Amazon Prime Bond now? Because that right there is a tragedy.
Well, look, if they released Red 1 for a month before,
Yeah, for sure.
before it going direct to Amazon, like they're probably still they're still going to go to the theaters. They're
Yeah.
still going to make money. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also just going to be a lot more offshoots of the cinematic.
I feel like you guys are making
experience.
a lot of assumptions here.
I am.
Because I first
course
of
I
all,
am.
they could, not saying that they will, but they could respect the property enough
That
to
feels like something Jeff
only
Bezos would do.
release a movie every couple of years.
Let me
Make
ask
sure
you
it's
this.
good. Well, it could be like a prize IP, and they could really
Well,
take care of
but
it
can I
and be
ask-
careful with it and not do that. Or
Can I ask you this? You're a big Lord of the Rings guy. Did they take care of that IP with what they made?
absolutely not. That's a great example of them not doing the right thing. But
But Fallout's very good. Like IP-based stuff, they've done well before.
They have.
I don't think this is going to fall in that category. This is how can we make as much money as possible for our TV revenue.
okay, but also James Bond is like a really untapped.
Reservoir, absolutely.
There's not a bunch of James Bond toys or anything like that.
I get that. I'm fine with little kids
No.
having James Bond toys.
I had James Bond toys when
I
I was a
want-
kid. We had James Bond Jr. was on when I was a kid.
Again, I don't want the Star Wars Marvel effect of, I don't want a bunch of what if series on James Bond. I want a James Bond movie. Give me a James Bond movie. Cast your new James Bond and give me a James Bond movie that isn't just made for Prime Video streaming. Give me an actual movie, please,
Okay.
for the love
all
of
right,
God.
all right, hold on. I don't want to get too woke on you right now, but I feel like
Please do.
what you're saying now is that you just want James Bond to stay James Bond.
No, I want the James Bond movie to stay a James Bond movie. That big thing that you need to go see in a theater, like James Bond, as you said, it was special.
But some people might connect with Moneypenny.
Fully understand that. I'm not saying keep James Bond, make James Bond great again. No, I just want James Bond to be an actual movie event that happens. We haven't had one in a long time, and the past few movies have been pretty poor. Spectre was great.
I completely disagree.
You like the last movie with Rami Malek?
I didn't like the last one.
And it's
I didn't
been
like
10
the last
years
one.
since we've had one before that.
Gosh, was it really
No,
that
it's
long?
been a effing
before
long
the
time,
two?
though.
Yeah, it wasn't that
Look,
long.
the point
but they
is-
are big event movies. I think they'll continue keep being big event movies. Obviously, I wouldn't be too surprised if Amazon mined the IP a little bit or a lot of it. But
I think the biggest problem I have is it's not Amazon's creative executives or creative producers.
They have creatives at Amazon?
They do apparently who were like, you know what, this is a good property for us to go after. This was Jeff Bezos going, get me this property, here's a blank check. And to me that means he's going to utilize it to the nth degree. And I think it's gonna be a travesty, and we're gonna see a Marvel Cinematic Universe in the Bond experience, and that you heard it here first. I really believe that's what's gonna happen.
Well, speaking of non-IP movies, we have one coming out this weekend in the spy world. Steven Soderberg directed Black Bag itself, a fantastic cast. Have not seen a lot about this movie. It's not expected to make a lot of money, but we wanted to rope it in because I love Soderberg movies, and I want this to do well. I want this movie to be good. I don't know if it will be.
And this movie's gonna be friggin' awesome.
It looks great.
You sure?
I am.
Was Logan Lucky good?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going
debatable.
to differ on that one. It's been a while since Soderberg has created a non-IP movie that has stuck with a lot of people, and I'm not sure that this follows suit, even though it has a great cast attached to it.
I loved High Flying Bird. Did you see High Flying Bird in 2019? Excellent film. No one saw it, but I did.
Nobody saw it.
I'm a big Soderberg guy.
He's
Soderberg
great.
is excellent.
It's been a while since he's thrown his fastball, and I'm not sure Black Bag is his fastball. Kelman, what say you about Black Bag? Are you going to be seeing this in theaters?
I don't know. Honestly, there are some other movies coming out that might get my
Please tell me what
money.
you would rather see instead of Black Bag. Would it be Novacaine?
I would
starring
rather see Novacaine.
Nepo
Yes,
Baby
I'm
Jack?
sorry. That story appeals more to me than a
A guy
David
who
Soderbergh
can't
spy
feel
movie.
pain?
Yeah.
That's the log line, folks. A guy who can't feel pain. Oh, does he look like The Rock? No, he looks like Alex Alche. But
Yeah.
instead,
Well,
he
that's
can't
kind of the
feel
charm
pain.
of it.
And you also have
It's also been done before
the
in
cult
other movies.
classic.
but
What's it? The Opus?
The Opus is also coming out. There's also a Looney Tunes movie coming out.
The day the Earth blew up, the world blew up. I don't know. It's a Daffy Duck, Porky the Pig flick. I'm sure that'll do well.
Don't forget the Jesus movie too.
You'd rather
the Last
see
Supper
those.
is coming out this
If
weekend.
you have the slate all free to you, your perfect seats available, you're picking another movie instead of a Soderbergh Black Bag.
I would see Novacaine
I'm
over Black
so
Bag personally.
deeply
I'm sorry.
disturbed by
I'm
this.
Sorry.
So deeply disturbed
It's
by
true.
this.
I will say Novacaine's done a great job marketing. I
Yeah.
see it everywhere, at least in LA. I see
Black
that thing
Bag
everywhere.
is everywhere. You're just not looking.
Black Bag looks really good, but Novacaine looks fun. And if I'm gonna go to the theater for one or the other, Black Bag looks like it'll be just as good on my home TV
Two of the
as it does
best
in the
we
theater.
have are in that movie.
That's
It
true.
looks great.
Fassbender
That's
and
true.
Kate
I
Blanchett.
agree, it looks
Two
great.
of the biggest TV stars of today are in this film. In
Well, you could say
Regé
the
Jean
same about
Page
Novacaine.
from Bridgerton and Marissa Abella, who is so good. Like,
I don't know any
such
of the
an
names you're saying.
exceptional actress in Industry. Did you watch Industry?
I did not.
Well, pay attention and watch Industry. She is freaking incredible and, might I say, stunning.
Yeah, but Jack Quaid can't feel pain.
Whoop-de-doo! Soderbergh plus those four actors, and it's such a stacked cast. You know who else is in this movie? The quintessential James
Bond
Bond
himself.
in Pierce Brosnan.
Novacaine does better at the box office.
That's a great
Then Black
bet.
Bag.
That's a great bet.
That's a good bet.
Novacaine versus Black Bag. We are going to make our over/under prediction in a second here, but I want to attack that first. I'm going to stay out of it because I'm leaning to Novacaine.
I'll buy your ticket to Black Bag.
I want Black Bag to do well, Alche. I'm advising against you taking this bet and maybe not betting a full movie ticket on it. You are off a movie ticket,
I
though.
feel like they are like right on line with each other. We're talking about opening weekend,
Opening
yeah?
weekend.
Opening
period.
weekend.
You're on, sir.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Air shake.
Let's talk about Black Bag, though, because I don't want to talk about Jack Quaid any more than we have
Fair
to.
enough.
Great.
Terrible actor. Black Bag, if I
He's
put
fine.
the number at 13 million, because it's right now projections from 10 to 15, I'm going to put 13 as the number. Are you over or under 13? Again, for the record, so far on this show, Alche and I are 3-1. You are 2-2. You need this to keep a winning record. So I'm going to go to you first. 13 million for Black Bag, over or under that number, opening weekend domestically.
Honestly, I think the Novacaine just has a lot better marketing. So I think the Black Bag would go under 13.
Under 13. That's
I'm
going to
say 10 to 12
That's a
region.
tough under. You seem very excited about Black Bag. Novacaine could stink as well. Are you over or under 13 mil opening
Black
weekend?
Bag is a 94-minute spy thriller. People should be wanting to go see this. However, I think it's making 11.5, and I'm going under.
God, I thought I was going to be alone. I really thought I was going to be alone. We have only all agreed on one movie so far on this show, in which we went over the domestic opening of Captain America: Brave New World, and we crushed that prediction. Each of us started out 1-0. We're all on the same page again. I'm taking under 13 million for the Soderbergh spy.
Hold on a second.
thriller.
The last couple times that I've agreed with Tony, we've gotten it wrong. And this makes me want to change
I've gotten
my...
once wrong. I've got it wrong once. You mean the last time you agreed with me, the one time I got things wrong? Come on.
it was last time
blame
and the
me.
time
You know what they
before.
Don't
say?
blame me for your
you know what they
failures.
say? Fool me once. Huh?
We're all,
All right,
under
fine.
the 13 million. Before we move off of the spy movie thing, we keep bringing up Pierce Brosnan. We keep bringing up Bond. We can't not do this. Very quickly, who are your top 3 Bonds in order?
Ooh.
Who?
Who are your top 3 Bonds in order?
Brosnan.
Number 1?
Yeah.
Definitely.
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 Okay. Okay.
Then probably Connery. And then Daniel Craig.
You like Daniel Craig. I like Daniel Craig the person. I don't like the style of that Bond. I like to be the
fair.
more,
I
old
totally
school Bond.
understand.
Connery is one for me, and you cannot even touch Connery. I love Pierce. I'd put him 2, and I thought that'd be shocking to you two.
No.
I'm putting Roger Moore
understand.
number 3.
Oh, please. Roger Moore.
He's
Yeah,
so
real.
funny.
Yeah, he's in the goofy ones.
He's the
Yeah.
goofy ones,
Yeah.
but those are the worst movies.
Oh,
Well,
I
it's
love
not
him.
all of them. Not
Oh,
all
I
of them
love
are the
him.
worst.
Those are the worst.
Some of those are some of my
You
favorites.
take Daniel Craig over Goofy Roger Moore?
100%.
Yeah, it's not
I'd
for
even
me.
take him over Connery.
It
I'm going
depends on the
Over
movie.
Connery?
over Connery. My order is Brosnan, Daniel Craig,
Wow.
Connery.
That's terrible. That's the worst list I've
Is
ever
it?
heard. That is
it?
the worst
Is
list
it?
I've ever heard.
Weigh in, court of public opinion. We'll find out.
What's your favorite Bond movie then?
Oh, well, this is unfair. Goldeneye.
Oh, whoa! Who knew?
That's unfair. That's unfair.
Why? Because you played the game on N64
Yes.
until
Is
it
that
broke?
everybody's
And
favorite?
And it came out
Bond
as
movie?
the perfect time for me growing up. It had all those great actors in it. It made me fall in love with all of them. I mean, I was
Yeah.
introduced to all these great actors from that movie and then learned about them through other movies. GoldenEye's number 1. Xena
Villainous
on top.
Ned
Come on.
Stark in there.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
so
my God.
good.
Oh.
I mean, is it also the best video game of all time? I think it might be. GoldenEye's
It's a
so
contender
good.
for sure.
GoldenEye's
So
great.
good.
GoldenEye's
Getting
great.
the golden gun was like the greatest moment of my life.
Hey, I'm just going to butt in real quick to tell everybody to like, subscribe, follow us on Substack, all the social medias. Tony, Cheese, myself, we're all making a bunch of really fun content for you, so you should go check us out in all the other places.
We have held back from you guys a certain rule in our movie league from the very beginning that we're unveiling right now. As you know, we've each drafted 5 movies this year. Whoever makes the most in the worldwide box office wins the movie league. Again, I'm hosting this show because I won last year's movie league. And what they did to me is very unfair. The commissioner who's sitting behind the camera right now created a new rule, concocted a whole new plan to come and get me. Not only are we going to have our 5 movies that we've talked about, who we've drafted for 2025, but there's a 6th movie. A 6th movie that each of us have drafted that is nothing to do with the first 5. It's called the indie movie category, even though they're not all indie movies. Basically, each of us drafted a backup movie, and if it makes $150 million or less, it is eligible for a huge bonus of $500 million. Basically, all of these movies are in a pot. Whoever gets closest to 150 million worldwide by the end of 2025 wins $500 million to the grand total. That's a big number considering the leader in the clubhouse right now hasn't even reached 400 million with Captain
That's
America
true.
Brave New World. That $500 million bonus could decide the league. And so again, each of us, the 3 of us here and the 4 people who are not on camera in this league, each have an indie movie. Again, the goal of it is get to 150, but not over. Whoever's closest to the pin wins that 500. Nobody else gets a dime. Let's go through these 7 indie movies because there are interesting ones left and right. Right now, the leader in the clubhouse, at least the favorite to win this whole thing, is probably Henry. He has The Smashing Machine, which I believe is a Rock Safdie Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a release date. Good luck,
8/24.
Henry. A lot of faith to you. You might not win the indie movie thing. Great team otherwise, though. We also have 2 horror movies on this list. Our good friend Ben Rosen, again, we lost him to Portland a few years back.
Sure did.
Peddling his
R.I.P.
way to freedom up there. He has I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No?
No, that's right. He has Final Destination. TJ, the commissioner, has I Know What You Did Last
right.
Summer.
That's right.
Alche, what is your indie movie?
It's so obvious. I don't know why anyone didn't pick it. It's Downton Abbey 3.
Now, the Downton Abbey 1 and 2 movies I didn't know existed prior to him picking Downton Abbey 3. How much money did those make worldwide?
Downton Abbey 2 made $85 million worldwide. I was playing the prices right with it. I am expecting to definitely not go over.
Yeah.
So that was my goal with this.
Definitely.
I want to get like $100 million, and I think I got a shot.
It's going to be very hard to not hit 150 over because as soon as you hit 150,001, you're done. It's over. And some of these movies do have long legs. Some of them, like especially the horror ones, they might be a hit that opening weekend and crest past this 150 by the end of it.
Dogman's
It's
still
not an easy
going.
thing. Dogman, well, it ain't in the indie movie. Should have been in the
Oh,
indie
you're
movie.
right.
It's already at 120, and people did not expect it to break 100. So
Yeah.
Kellerman, what is your indie movie?
Mortal Kombat.
This-
Oh, wait, sorry.
Mortal Kombat 2! Round
Dude.
2, fight.
Yeah.
Listen, Mortal Kombat 1 came out half on HBO live streaming, half in the theaters because we were in the middle of COVID times.
Right.
This is going to be full theaters. Do you know how much Mortal 1 made?
I think it was around 85 million.
85 million, but again, half of that was seen. I know I saw that from the comfort of my own home rather
I
than
saw
going
it
to
in
the
theaters.
theater.
I
I'm one of
also
the
went to the
$85 million.
theaters.
I also really like Mortal Kombat 1. I think that's a great pick for the indie movie, but I
Thank
also
you.
think that's a very good chance of going over. Like, it depends on what it
Really?
comes out against, but I do think Mortal Kombat, especially because, again, I think a lot more people saw the first one than 85 million worldwide tells you they did, and I think they got a good chance of coming in. The best chance to win this, though, and it's not just me, I'll be talking about my movie in a second, I think it's the current leader in the clubhouse, Matthew Dangles D'Angelo Antonio. His indie
one?
movie pick is the SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know if it's a musical. It's the 5th SpongeBob SquarePants movie to come out. Let me tell you why I think it's a great pick, and this is Dangle's ingenious move in trying with this movie.
Yeah, I feel like that would go over.
Well, 150 is the cap, right?
Yeah.
This movie comes out December 19th. So he has about 12 days of it in theaters before the league is over.
cutoff, yeah.
And so if this
Wow,
makes
clever.
150 in 12 days, he's won this league. I think it'll make over 150 when it's all said and done, but we're only playing the game for 2025.
Yeah, wow.
Genius move by
That is
Dangle.
smart.
I think there's a shot that it goes over, but not by much. He's going to be right there. I mean, I don't
No
know.
way.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, I bet this goes
11
over in its first
days.
weekend.
SpongeBob is
Who
like,
knows? He's playing a gamble. I like the gamble.
it's a good choice. I like it. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see how it works out for him. But what is yours?
I was going to say, the winner in the clubhouse, the real one, the one I've saved for last, is because I'm going to, TJ concocted this newfangled rule to try and get me. Nay, I got him. Because my pick for the indie movie is the new movie called The Bride, a.k.a. The Bride of Frankenstein. Is it a musical? I don't know.
Could be.
It's going to be fun. It could be a musical. Comes out end of September. I'm very excited for it. Maggie Gyllenhaal directed it. Christian Bale's in it. I think it looks really cool. I think it's the perfect art house style flick that people love to see. Gets great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but no one really sees it in the movie theaters.
Kellen,
And
are
I
you
think-
seeing that?
I think it has long
Yeah.
legs, and I think from September on, it's going to hit 150, a very slow crawl towards it. I also did your angle where I don't want a movie that's going to go over.
Yes. I don't know, man. I don't think the bride's making I think the bride's making like $86 million
Yeah,
and
I
calling
doubt
it a
it
day.
cracks 100.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
I'm saying this, but of course I have seen so little of it.
Nosferatu made 180.
If I get a little bit less than Nosferatu, I am golden.
No way are you coming anywhere near Nosferatu. It's Eggers. There was a huge push for Nosferatu.
I will say-
I think there's going to be a
Christian
huge
Bale-
push for this movie. I'm telling you, we're not even close to it coming out. I'm thinking we're getting a lot of awards buzz for this thing. I think we're going to get a lot of
Wow,
Awards
really?
buzz.
Well, Maggie Gyllenhaal's
It's a-
director.
it's
I guess
a-
that
I
would
mean,
make
Jesse
sense.
Buckley's a beast of an
It's
actress,
a real
but
theatrical movie. Like, I think it's going to be one of those things that we all. Oh, have
I'll
you seen
have
The
to see a
Bride?
trailer. I'll have to see a trailer.
I'm hoping for it. The Bride's going to win this indie movie, but you're still good on Downton Abbey. You might have the worst pick of the bunch. Again, you're going to be touching that 150 line with Mortal Kombat. Dangles again, playing the gamble, and then the winner is me, The Bride.
I think ultimately everyone's gonna go a touch over, and I'm gonna be sitting there at 64 million going.
Make sure you tune in next week because we have a new movie coming out that is part of the Box Office Fantasy League. Not just the indie movie category, but the real movie category. It is, sadly, a whole episode dedicated to Snow White. Yeah, it's going to be a tough week.
What was the last Snow White movie? Maleficent? That's a Snow White movie, right?
Sure.